I tell some owners that all the time. If you really want to flourish for what you see that is for you, you need to step outside of this box, right?
Right. In the box of childcare, just childcare too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, I know you're a mogul in all different types of things, but we got to get outside the box. Like at one point, Stacey, I wasn't going to any childcare conferences.
Yeah.
Right, because they were speaking the same language, the mindset was the same, and so I needed to dive into marketing. I needed to dive into different other aspects other than just childcare.
This is me, Coach Stacey B, back with another episode of the Childcare Teacher Chronicles, where we talk about all things as it relates to childcare, specifically the teachers. I am sitting here with Miss Melika Honoré, multi-center owner of the Love Center, and we are going to talk about scaling businesses and creating paths for staff to grow and achieve further things. Hey, Miss Melika, how are you?
Hey, girl. I'm so bucked up to be here.
That's a New Orleans girl. She's so bucked up. But I wanted to have you on specifically. Me and you met some years ago through a mutual acquaintance, and we built a great relationship with each other. But we have been able to keep in touch, talking more about businesses and growing businesses. And you have turned out to be the queen of scaling, right?
I have.
So tell the audience a little bit about you and your background and what you do right now.
Okay, so my name is Melika Honoré. I have a few childcare facilities as well, as Stacey stated. I also am the CEO and founder of Honoré Credit Consultants, and we help hardworking women and men and ambitious business owners unlock the keys to financial freedom by teaching people how to leverage other people's money. And then my newest baby, Stacey, I twirl and everything when I talk about this business. It's The Verdict. It's a restaurant and a sexy lounge, the sexiest restaurant and lounge in New Orleans East.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let me give you a hand clap and give you some flowers.
I'm gonna give myself one.
Yes, as you should. So I wanted to talk to you. Like I said, you have shown to be pivotal in growing businesses and starting businesses and not being afraid to step out, right? And one of the things that I often hear childcare teachers or childcare owners talk about is their capacity to scale, their capacity to grow. A lot of times they get stuck in that childcare box, right? And as I often say, we can only make so much money out of childcare. Once you reach your capacity, you at your capacity. So we have to be able to pivot and do other things in order to grow our revenue. But what it also allows us to do is be able to promote people with it also allows us to create opportunities and spaces. So tell me a little bit about how you starting these different ventures, how that has been impactful for the staff of your child care centers.
So I often talk about this before I was doing credit, because I'm known as the mayor of credit.
The mayor of credit, yes, ma'am.
And has done such a great job of branding myself as that. People don't even realize I have daycares. And so it started off in the beginning where I was known as the daycare lady that fixed credit.
Right.
And it was an incentive, right? Just for my high priority, top of the line staff. So supervisors, directors, different professionals, and it was a perk. Like, listen, you come here and she gonna fix your credit. And it was crazy. I remember at one time, everybody in the child care facility was driving new cars. And people were coming in saying, well, dang, Miss Melika, what are you paying these girls? And I was like, I'm just helping them fix their credit. But it was deeper than that, because I taught them about living their lives financially, right? And so give me that question one more time.
So the question was basically, how do you, creating these new spaces, empower your staff, give them a lane, give them something to look forward to, but also help them achieve financial success and stability?
Because at the end of the day, we know what the teachers, they are still human beings. They're women, they're mothers, right? And so they're in a child care facility. They have goals, right? And so they have a mentor within house that they have access to. And so we always come to them about what that looks like for them, right? Their goals. We do something at the child care facilities called daily power hours. And it's just 15 minutes, and we only talk about them and their goals. And so I hear certain things, and then I pull them aside. And then we've created positions for them based on that, because as you know, it's really, really hard to get amazing quality staff. So when you get someone a little something. You try to find something to keep them entertained and do great at. So you find things that they're great at and then give them those responsibilities.
So one of the things I'm hearing you say is once you have staff and you get to know that staff and have that conversation, you get to see what their strengths are. And not only that, but their interests, right?
Yes.
I often say, as I coach with some of the other child care center owners, you have to create spaces for what is needed in your organization. And so that's a key takeaway from what you're just saying. You have created positions to give them a chance to have authority, a chance to shine, a chance to show their strengths, and a chance to make more income, right? Yeah. In doing so, that helps them to feel more empowered, more secure, but also helps them to feel more loyal to your organization.
Right. And confidence, too.
And that's the word. It absolutely grows their confidence. Yeah. I had one of the interviews I did for the podcast, we talked about teacher pay and compensation, right? And this didn't come up, but you saying one of the perks to working with you were able to fix their credit or help them work on building their credit. That's a huge compensation, that teachers would love to have. I know that you have done smart money and financial classes. I have with my staff as well. And a lot of times, it's not that they're not making more money. It's that they don't know how to manage money or leverage what they have.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you good.
No, that's exactly what it is. So I was blessed to come from a family that taught me about credit. Yeah. But I realized in our community, right, we're not taught about that. We're taught to be afraid of that. Right. So because I've learned how to master and became an expert in that, I just talk about it in my everyday life. And so they hear me when they're around me. But at the end of the day, these teachers are not, again, they're just not teachers. Right. They're mothers, they're heirs, right? They're moguls. I always call them different names outside of being teachers.
Right. Because it's important that you speak life into them. Absolutely.
And the human being, because they're not just a teacher.
Right.
They got to go home and they have other lives and careers and aspirations outside of just being an amazing childcare teacher. Right,
other hats to wear. So I want to talk a little bit about diversifying services, right? Yeah. You started off in childcare, but then you turned around and you opened Honoré Credit Consultants, a huge credit consulting business. When she says she's called the mayor of credit, she on billboards in your state, my state, all other states, right? But what I wanted to talk about with Honoré Credit Consulting, how did that allow you to pull yourself away from the operations of the child care center? Because it took you needing to be feet on the ground growing that business, right? But how many other doors did that open for other people in your child care center to actually get a promotion or get a better paying job or a higher position?
Several, right? Again, we created positions. So I will see these people inside of my child care facilities, and sometimes we don't have any positions to give them there, but we'll keep them within the family, right? And so I had an amazing teacher who was killing it with the preschool, but she was capped out, right? She was there for 8 years, and she's like, I don't want to be a director. I want to expand to other things. And I actually promoted her to my supervisor position at my new restaurant. And so, again, I think that's the perk of working for Honoré Consultants and the Honoré family, because we have so many other businesses and opportunities. It puts them around amazing people like Coach B, right? And things like that. So, it gives them multiple opportunities outside of just being a childcare teacher, being an expert in whatever it is that they want to be. Because again, I'm really big on focusing on the whole person. Right. That's where I'm really big at, because after daycare centers, I'm still a mom. I'm still a mogul, right? Yes. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I talk about this often. My children are my inspiration. Yeah. And so we know that a lot of times we create these businesses and the children have no aspirations in childcare, but I have other businesses and it gets them in position to learn other opportunities and jobs.
Absolutely. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, like I say, you are a true example on how to scale businesses and grow businesses. And, even in some of our personal conversations, you bump your head on the damn wall at times. It's not always successful and easy, right? You've taken some losses.
I cry every day. I told you that. Stacey, I cry every day.
Shit get real for the owners, especially when we care and we give a damn. When we trying to build, not just for us to thrive and succeed, but those who come along behind us. But I wanted to ask you, how important is community engagement and partnerships as you are trying to grow these businesses and expand these businesses and create lanes so that those who are attached to you can also have a lane for themselves? How important is community involvement and building those relationships?
It's very important. I just told you when we talked about it prior to this, relationships is more than money, right? There's no other reason why I'm here standing on the Amazing Coach Stacey podcast other than relationships, right? We talked about us meeting through a mutual friend, right? Or acquaintances. But it's super, super important. Community today is more important. We have to go back to that. So I think that we forgot about that. And we lost it, right? But it's extremely important. And as soon as we get back to that, I think that our childcare businesses will do great and our communities as well.
Absolutely. One of the things that I found that, and I tell people all the time, I don't want to rewrite the wheel.
I'm not rewriting. I'm going to follow you.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm going to follow you.
Right. Yeah. Why am I going to work harder when we could work smarter together? And that's one thing that some people are still missing as they try to grow and expand. But as you said, getting into these different rooms, meeting other individuals, especially like-minded individuals, outside of our small circle. That's one thing you and I talked about. When you wanted to grow and really expand, you had to get away from New Orleans. You know, you had to start reaching out to other areas and other types of coaches. And I tell some owners that all the time. If you really want to flourish for what you see that is for you, you need to step outside of this box, right?
Right. In the box of childcare, just childcare too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I know you're a mogul in all different types of things, but we got to get outside the box. Like at one point, Stacey, I wasn't going to any childcare conferences.
Yeah.
Right, because they were speaking the same language, the mindset was the same, and so I needed to dive into marketing. I needed to dive into different other aspects other than just childcare.
Absolutely,
right. You're right.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: when you are looking to promote a staff or give them a higher level or just a different role in your organization, how do you find those key players? What type of interaction that you have where you're able to pinpoint she would be very good at this, she would excel at that, and what does that professional development around that looks like?
With those daily powwows, again, the powwows is nothing to do with childcare. It's all about the person.
Yeah.
So we doing it, and it's only about 10 minutes, and they know they can say nothing about childcare. It's about them. Okay. Right? What did they, so for instance, Monday morning we did, what did you do the weekend? Like we here in New Orleans, right? So everyone knows that Essence, right? And so they wanted to talk about Essence. So I get to know that person and then figure out, I ask them the question, just simply ask them. So what do you see yourself in the next year? Right? What do you see yourself in the next 5 years? How can I support you best? And then I tell my teachers, to be honest with you, if they want to open up child care facilities, I'm always looking for partners.
Yep.
And so then they have buy-in.
Yep.
Right? And so they want to go above and beyond because they know, hey, I do this really well. Miss Melika is looking at me and potentially have an opportunity to become a partner and invest in their dream, which is a child care facility. I'm not like, you know how you'll have daycare owners and if you say you want to open up a daycare, they instantly think that they're competition. That's not me.
Right.
Because I want to open up several childcare facilities, and I know I can't be the director of them all or owners. So I tell them that I'm looking for partners.
Yes.
All the time. And so again, that gives them buy-in.
That gives them buy-in, but that also builds on that trust and relationship that you all have. That also makes them feel more committed to you and more loyal to you and your organization. And like you say, some people miss that mark. They look at it as competition. You know, even the childcare teachers themselves within the organization, as one gets promoted. And I often tell my teachers and those who I coach, especially the leaders, when you have to be very careful when you get promoted, right? Because you started off as friends in these organizations.
And that's probably one of the struggles for them, right? Because go ahead, finish talking.
So, but that leads me to my next point: that professional development. When we are able to help someone rise and achieve higher things, how do we ensure that they could sustain it, right? So what does your professional development look like? And I kind of want to go out on a limb and say it's not all child care.
It's not.
I figured that.
It's not.
Tell us, how do you look for those professional developments? How do you know what's needed? And then what does that implementation structure look like?
So for me, I have a coach, right? And so here's another thing. You know this coach. Your coach better have a coach, right? That are experts in pulling in HR. This particular coach is an HR person. And so she gave me a set of questions that in the powwows every quarter we quiz them on and try to get to know what level, I forgot the dang old question. Say it again.
The question was pretty much, how do you know what professional developments to pour into them? How do you see who needs what and you align that to building them up? And
so personality tests, we do a lot of personality tests. And so we find where they're strong at and where they're weak at. Like I got this girl, she is really, really great at decorating. the classrooms. And so we've given her the opportunity to decorate all the childcare facilities now.
I know that's right.
Right? Because she's really good at it. And then we invested in putting her into a Canva class. You know what that did for her self-esteem? Right? She didn't even know about Canva.
Right.
And so I was like, what? You're a millennial. I automatically assumed she didn't know anything about Canva. She was doing graphics the old way. And so now we realized the strength of decorating. It gave her, you should see her light up when she's decorating. And so we gave the opportunity to decorate all of them. So we give them personality tests to figure out what they're strong at. And then we find different classes for them. Of course, you have a retreat.
Right.
That I'm trying to get 2 of them to come to.
Okay.
But they're mamas. And
right.
But and that's a whole nother thing. For me, it makes me feel good because these 2 women have never been outside of New Orleans. Other than Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
And so we give them personality tests. That's the answer, to try to figure out what they're strong at. And then we find things for them, just not in childcare. Like I mentioned, we gave one of the ladies a Canva course so that she can learn how to do graphics. And so we're now letting her do the social media. Yeah.
So let me tell you, in this conversation with you, you have enlightened me to so much. And that's why I tell you, don't know what you don't know until you sit down and have a conversation with someone. I like that you harped on the fact that not everything has to align or be related with childcare, right? There are so many other things that these teachers have embedded in them that we can help foster and support and grow. But us as owners, we have to be out our own way and be fluent enough to be able to help create those spaces. Again,
and then that gives trust.
That's what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
It builds that trusted relationship. Yeah. It builds that commitment. It builds that loyalty. And again, letting them know that I am here to support you, even if it is opening the center. I say that as well all the time. I want to help you achieve your goals because as long as they're working with us, they're helping us achieve ours, right?
Yeah, and allowing us to live our amazing lives.
Right. So I want to ask, is there anything else you feel that you can lend to this conversation as it comes to scaling your business and creating lanes for those who are with us to help succeed?
I've probably said it a million times on this podcast. Focusing on the human being. Yeah. Right? Not just, and I know that for a fact because I have a lot of them that friends. They're always just thinking about their business and that person for its childcare, right? Just focusing on the human being. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a daughter. And so if you just focus on that human being, again, you build trust, right? You build relationships from that because they know you care more than just your business. So you care about them as a person.
I really like that. But I have to sit here and play devil's advocate, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what happens when we are focusing on those human beings and we're pouring into them and we're willing to build them up and then they turn around and kick us in the ass?
That's reality, though. Not kicking the ass. Let me just say that. For me, a kick in the ass is when we pay for them to do CDA classes before, right? Before, because I make them sign. My staff sign. If you don't give me an additional 6 months after that CDA class, you're going to pay me back.
Right.
Right?
You got smart.
Right. After getting kicked in the ass a few times, right?
Right.
But it's a boomerang, and it's the energy that I feel like I pour out this energy, it's going to happen no matter what.
Right. It may not be from that one who you poured into. That is a philosophy I take as well.
And so it's about what I get back for just being an amazing human being and caring about my staff. So more than just my business.
Right.
Right. And so I always believe that this energy flows.
Yeah.
And so, I might get kicked in the ass about this one, but the one twice down the road that's coming, that God's going to bless me with. So that's one of my prayers now. God, send me amazing human beings that want a career in childcare and believe and love children.
Yes.
Love children, right? And care for children. Yeah. And so that's one of my prayers. But anyway, I'll get kicked in the ass one time, but two times down the road, I'm going to be blessed with an amusing person. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, Melika, again, I was very excited to have you here. Like I say, I met you being a multi-center owner with the Love Center, 24-hour centers here in New Orleans. Then you opened up Honoré Credit Consultant, been doing amazing things. I mean, even sat and worked with me with getting my credit repaired. That's how I was able to obtain my first commercial business.
She already had good credit.
But I needed help obtaining that first commercial business, and your team came right in and worked with me, and now you have the Verdict Lounge, where, I mean, it's just a sexy, grown vibe. Again, all of these different businesses are creating space, not only for your child care centers, but in your communities. So I do want to thank you for being an example of what successful business owners look like, scaling businesses, growing businesses, and not being afraid to talk about about the hard times and the times that don't work out, because as you say, one day it will work out and we will be on the other side.
Yeah, you just got to keep going.
Yes.
That's it. Just keep going.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to just say this one thing because you put it in my head. It's an amazing feeling, Stacey, like with having all the businesses to watch. I have 4 ladies that have worked with me over 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so work with me. They started off in childcare and now they're at Honoré. Mm-hmm. And the verdict, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's an amazing feeling to see someone in the morning time come to the childcare facility and at nighttime at the restaurant.
At the verdict, yeah. Yes. And so again, that causes you to build powerful relationships. That causes you to have support, but then they also know that they have support in you. Yeah. And that's very important for us as business owners to build these relationships. And I must tip my hat to you and say, job well done in building these relationships. Yeah. I thank you for taking the time out and coming to the Childcare Teacher Chronicles podcast. This is a platform where we talk about all things as it relates to childcare, specifically the teachers and how it impacts them. Again, thank you, Ms. Melika Honoré, for coming and spending time with us. I want to thank you all for tuning into another episode of the Childcare Teacher Chronicles, where we talk about all things childcare, specifically as it relates to the teachers. We're going to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time.